Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel and welcome to Lawfolds Farm, episode number 32. And just as I had indicated after we ended episode number 31, we're right back at it. Maybe about 30 minutes of our gameplay has elapsed, and that was just pretty much me going down and tending to our animals. So let's just pull up our chart here. I topped them up on hay and silage and grass and straw, and we'll do water later. We'll do power food later, and I also did the same down at the sheep farm as well. The other thing that I did was I also took a hay bale and a straw bale out of our barn down at the dairy farm and placed that outside because with the seasons mod, not only will we lose grass bales, so the grass bales will disappear, they'll basically rot and disappear, and we've got, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 grass bales remaining. I did top all of those up for the cows, but we've got some bales that are still in the barn. Those should disappear. Even though that they're in the barn, they'll still disappear. And then I took a hay bale and a straw bale and I placed it outside because if the hay and straw bales get wet, they will also rot and disappear. So that's kind of my test sacrifice, if you will, to see if that's going to work. The rest of the obviously the rest of the hay bales, the rest of the straw bales are inside inside cover, so hopefully the barns don't leak, and but I guess we will find out. So let me set our parking brake. We'll get out and try not to bang our head on the header there, and get into our John Deere, crank this guy up, move him out of the way. And we'll just put him off to the side here like this. Go back, get going. This is our last harvest. The final countdown to our harvest season for this fall has been this field here. This has been the sort of the eye of the prize, if you will. And so we're here. We finally reached it. And let me just get over here, get back here, turn us on, parking brake off. And we'll just kind of ease into the field here, like this. And just cut us a notch out so we don't lose any crop. And off we go. So we'll do this ourselves for a little bit and then most likely bring in AI vehicle extension. I did check, honestly, my apologies, I checked the whether there was an updated version. There was, and I forgot to load it. So we're still on the slightly older version that I referenced in episode number 31. And obviously we know that works because it did a beautiful job on our, what was that? Our sunflower field, yeah. Did a beautiful job on that. Really helped out a lot. So we'll see how much soybean we get off this field. This is, I believe, the largest field that we own is field number 26. Let's just pull that up and validate that. Yeah, I think so. I think that you know, field 32 is pretty good size, as well as field 34, but they're not quite as wide as 26, and I think that by volume, by area, by space, all that good stuff, this is a much larger field. So so hopefully soybeans will be a product that our local vendors and such will want to buy from us, and they'll want to pay us well for it. But we're doing okay on money. We have yet to sell the wool that I've been sort of talking about the last several episodes. We've got quite a few bales of it already, and I believe that our sheep have already stopped producing wool, so that is also a feature of the seasons mod. So you know, I would assume that I've never raised sheep, but I would assume that they need all their little woolly bits and everything to keep themselves warm over the cold Scottish winter. And we'll do a couple of headlands here, I think, on this end, and just prep for turning this over to the AI to do. I think they'll appreciate having a little bit extra room here on each end of the field. That helps. That helps with both the in-game AI as well as with auto combine. So you know, quite honestly, I think sometimes the in-game AI, both the default Giants version, as well as things like Courseplay and auto combine, etc., get a little bit of a bad rap from users. And while they each, independent of each other, have their issues, I think that also the expectations that people have of the AI function is also slightly elevated than what folks should maybe expect. And I think that we can certainly save our own selves a lot of frustration and anger and negativity and everything towards say, for example, Giants, or various modders like Mowgli, for example, who created the AI vehicle extension, or the folks behind Courseplay, etc. Because there are things that we can do that will help these mods out tremendously. As an example, with both the in-game Giants AI, hitting the H helper key, and also the AI vehicle extension auto combine, on a field like this, as an example, this is a good candidate for this is actually a good candidate for the in-game Giants built-in AI. But even that, we would help it tremendously by cutting a couple of headlands at the end of the field, like we're doing here. With AI vehicle extension, this is a square field. This is the only, I believe, with the exception of the little potato field or sugar beet field that we had over there, I believe this is the only square field that we have that we actually own. So even with the in-game AI, we would greatly enhance that and help that by cutting headlands, and also with the AI vehicle extension or auto combine, the same thing. So, folks, while these mods, or these processes, I will say, because obviously the built-in Giants AI is not a mod, it's a built-in process, but nonetheless, they can greatly be enhanced and helped by doing some, a few things in advance, and this is an example of that. So, but no, for those of you that, there are legitimate issues with these processes. I won't lie to you. I'm greedy. I'm going to take this little bit of soybean here because we can. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. There are challenges. I talk about them from time to time and fuss a little bit about it, simply because, yeah, it's sometimes an issue. But there are lots of things that we can do that help to alleviate some of those problems, mitigate some of those problems. So think about that, the next time you want to do something in a field and you want to use the AI stuff. Just like Courseplay, in some of the Courseplay tutorials that I'm doing, I'm starting to show you know, some of the basic stuff first. I'm doing all the basic stuff. So set up the, you know, how to install it. That was one episode. Setting up the transfer route of just moving equipment around the map. That was an episode that I did. Plowing, seeding, fertilization, all of those things are going to be coming if they're not available yet. And we're just doing basic stuff. But even then, those items, you know, using Courseplay correctly, taking advantage of its ability to do headlands, as an example, last, or even first, it really doesn't matter. I mean, your tractor running over a freshly seeded portion of your field is not going to hurt your yield. The game doesn't factor that in. So if you do your headlands first, that's fine. It's however you want to play the game. There's no necessary right or wrong way. Obviously, in the real life, the headlands when you're seeding would obviously be done last to try to mitigate the impact of the tractor and the seeder and everything on already seeded ground. But using that feature, using the headland feature in Courseplay will again make things much easier. And sometimes you got to do, you know, sometimes one headland's just not going to be enough. Sometimes you need to do two or three. I typically on this map with the with like the 6 meter plow, the 9 meter header that we're using on this map, I'm doing usually 3 headlands on this. So here's the deal. I don't think I can get to the other end. As a matter of fact, I know I can't, so I'm not even really going to try, because I think it would be an utter failure. I'll get about probably 3/4 of the way across there, and we'll switch back over here. We'll go ahead and pull out our chute, and we're going to get out and we're going to run down here and grab our tractor and tipper and bring it up to the field. I staged him, but I staged him a little further away because I still needed this road to bring the combine and everything up. The larger combine obviously is working out really well here for me on this map, and I look forward to my steering wheel being turned all the way to the left there. I look forward to, you know, getting it in our, you know, midsummer, late summer, fall harvest again in season 2, and taking advantage of it on some of these other fields. Grab a screenshot while we're here. Now we do have Courseplay AI doing some seeding for us. It's canola. We did our, you know, the first day of fall we did barley. The second day of fall we did a winter wheat, and then the last day of fall we have done a winter canola. So we will see how that works out for us. Hopefully all will be fine. And back in the combine, and now we will do our headlands on this end, and that way we should be able to at that point go ahead and turn auto combine loose on this field, and then we can do his we can empty his grain and such. So 1440, 2:40 in the afternoon. Maybe we can get this field done before dark 30. I don't know. We will just have to kind of see. Obviously, it's going to take us longer than 30 minutes to do this field, and we've only got about 15 minutes left. So I may actually, I don't know, I'll see. I may actually break this episode up into 2 parts. Obviously part 1 being whatever we can get done in this half hour or 45 minutes or so, and then maybe basically bring in part 2 which would just essentially be episode 33, and finish the rest of this field, just because this is our last harvest of the fall. And you know, we're 30, well, this is 32, so we're 32 episodes into our season, and this has been such a lovely map to play. I've quite enjoyed it, and I really don't know what the future holds as far as how many episodes per game day and everything that you're going to maybe expect to see on Lawfolds for the winter months. It may be possible that I just bring to you an episode a day, an episode of each of those game days, because again, you know, it's going to be pretty much all that we're going to have to do in the winter months is tend to the animals. The ground's going to be too hard to do any groundwork, plus we've been pretty much doing our groundwork as we've been progressing along. Obviously this field probably won't get plowed until spring, just because by the time we get the harvest done and everything, it's going to be the first game day of winter. So we will probably just let this field set, and we've got some fields planted with oilseed radish, and then some fields we have not done oilseed radish. So we're just kind of doing a multiples of things just to kind of experiment and sort of tiptoe our way through. You know, this is the latest that I have ever, you know, got within the seasons mod, because of either having to do restarts because of map upgrades or things like that. So you know, we didn't get into the winter months in Coldwell Park Farm. I tried to install the seasons mod in Goldcrest Valley, because if you remember in my manual process of sort of doing seasons on Goldcrest, in my manual process of doing seasons on Goldcrest, I was in the winter time frame. But let's bring up this up and down, and there we go. So again, I'm going to repeat what I just said. In Goldcrest Valley, Stevie's edit of Goldcrest Valley, I was doing manual seasons, and we were in winter. And so obviously the big key was stockpiling up on stuff for the animals and stuff like that. Anyway, long story short, painfully long story short, I tried installing the seasons mod on the Goldcrest Valley edit map and get it around to winter time. But there was just some problems, and of course the seasons developers will tell you, they actually urge you not to place the seasons mod or activate the seasons mod into an already existing game save. So there were some problems with that, and of course, you know, I knew the warnings and everything, but I had backed it up. But just basically, I mean, there was not much need to continue that series, and so, you know, we just didn't. So not a big deal. So I am going to do something that I almost rarely ever do, and I'm going to teleport down to our JCB here, because this guy is finished, and we will, well, he's not really finished. Wow, what a terrible job he has done here. So let's, I guess we kind of need to fire this guy and do it ourselves. This must have had the, might have had the working width wrong on this seeder, because he left a lot of space that he did not seed. So let's just kind of do some multiple things here as we're letting our combine be fully automated with the AI vehicle extension mod and all that stuff. So I really didn't get, I'm doing sort of bits and pieces of utilizing Courseplay on this map. I'm sort of using Courseplay on this map to do sort of one function or one process at a time. And on Pine Cove Farm, you're going to see a lot more things being done and automated. I'll probably have maybe a combine being controlled by either AI vehicle extension or by Courseplay, and then have tippers, probably the semis, being controlled by Courseplay, and I'll probably run the auger wagon and then mix things up. So we'll have, it'll be a little bit more like a multi-ring circus at that point than what we've been doing here on this map. Again, this map has just kind of been kind of one function at a time, just not wanting to severely overload things with automation, just because we've kind of been wanting to just experience this map as I believe it's meant to be played, or tried to play it in the way that I think it's meant to be played, and it's just really a joy. So if you have yet to play Lawfolds, definitely check it out. It is available on the Giants Mod Hub to be installed via the game or via external, and then put in your mods folder. And by the way, if you haven't attempted to install a map or anything relatively large via the game, the mod hub in the game, that download speed is going to be painfully slow compared to what you can just download it externally and then place the mod in your mods folder, and you'd be good to go. Smaller mods is not too bad. The weight is, obviously the download speed is the same, but if the file size is smaller, it's less of an impact to you in having to wait. But a large map, like Lawfolds or Coldwell Park Farm or any of those that are on the mod hub, it can take 10 or 15 minutes or more, I guess, for the game to download it, whereas downloading it yourself is much quicker. All right, so I'm not going to worry about all of these little missed pieces. It's possible that this crop we're going to lose this maybe anyway, just because I think I made a mistake, and we should have actually planted this yesterday instead of today. But again, it's kind of about learning, and you're learning through my mistakes, and I'm learning hopefully from my own mistakes, and hoping that I remember these things so that I don't repeat the error of my ways come a future date and time. Okay, get this guy off the field. We'll park the JCB up right here. It'll be in the way, I'm sure, but we'll want to wash him down and everything before we and hopefully we've caught this guy as he's heading back up this direction, and we have. So good. The timing was good. Try to empty him when the pipe is on the correct side of the field and everything. Of course, I am using the crop damage mods, but that mod has been modified so that the AI does not ruin the crop. And you might say, well, that's cheating. Well, technically it is cheating. I get your point. The problem is, of course, that the AI, and again, I was just sort of trying to give praise a few minutes ago, saying that there are things that we can do that will help the AI out tremendously, but obviously the AI is still a bit finicky, to put it mildly. And so when the combine is turning Or, for example, if I was automating the tractor tipper with Courseplay to basically, you know, come alongside the combine, empty the combine, and then when he gets full, go and empty and everything. And you'll see all of that on Pineco Farm a little more than what we're doing here on Lawfolds. But the AI, if they drive through the crops, and many times they will, because they're just silly like that, it will destroy the crop. And so, you know, in the real world, I'm sure that the AI has to be occasionally reminded about things and trained and what have you. But in this game, the way this game is designed, the way this game is built, etc., it doesn't matter. The AI is just as stupid tomorrow as they will be the day after that and the day after that. So if you want to try to prevent your crops from being damaged because of no fault of yours, in other words, if I drive this tractor through the soybean crop, it will ruin the soybean crop. But if the AI does it, it does not. And that's a modification to the modification. And that's pretty cool. Because again, the AI, you know. Now I believe, you know, here we go. I'm gonna reference cattle and crops just a little bit. I believe that in cattle and crops, the AI, I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe the AI do get a bit smarter. There's a through that management function and how that we're going to manage AI and everything, hired workers. I believe that they develop skills, sort of like in ATS and ETS2, how over time you train your drivers by exposing them to, or having them focus on certain things, whether it be long distance or hazardous materials or fragile or whatever. Or of course you can set them for a balanced training program. But if you're really starting out your trucking company in ATS or ETS2, setting them up and having them focus on, you know, for example, long haul is a pretty good moneymaker for them, or having them focus on fragile or just-in-time deliveries, things like that. And I think that we're going to have a similar component or a similar process in cattle and crops. At least I hope so, because again, I do like doing a lot of this stuff myself, don't get me wrong, and I've even sometimes, you know, I will admit I have maybe poked fun at some YouTube channels or made comment about some YouTube channels that all they do is do Courseplay automation. I mean, they go around and they start this tractor and they start this combine, and they basically just, Courseplay has automated everything, 100% of what they're doing, and they just show that, and that's what they do. But at the same time, I sort of, you know, I like in ETS and ATS, ETS2 and ATS, I like the aspect of training the drivers and sort of working on their experience and obviously reaping the rewards from that. That's cool. So I'm kind of hopeful that the same will come available to cattle and crops at some point. We will see. We will see. Well, our first soybean crop, our first load of soybeans is coming off the field. So that, of course, is an achievement in and of itself. And it's heavy. in Farm Sim 15, soybeans, and of course that wasn't a native crop to the game, so it was, you know, on mod maps and stuff you'd get soybean. Soybean was much heavier, as it is here in this game with the mod that I'm running that changes the load dynamics and everything. But it was so much heavier, like especially I think I noticed it like on states, for example, that the tractor that you might use to pull, or even the truck if you were using a semi, to move your soybeans, and there was another one that was also really heavy as well. It would often, you know, if you were going too fast with like Courseplay, it would often overshoot its target or its next waypoint, because the weight of the soybeans was much different than, say, for example, a tipper full of wheat. And see, again, even AI Combine or AI Vehicle Extension mod, it does not ruin the crop, because he still stays fairly close to the crop itself, and close enough that he pulls into it slightly, and the crop's not being ruined because of that. And of course, real life, you know, they wouldn't make a turn, a maneuver as close to the crop if it wasn't absolutely necessary, because again, it's all about efficiencies in the real world. It's all about, you know, making sure that they're getting every ounce possible of yield off these fields, because that all turns into profit at the end of the day. But of course, these mods, including AI Vehicle Extension mod, Courseplay, built-in Giants mod, etc., they just, you know, it's just limited in what they can do and how they function. So it is what it is. All right, well, we're at about 33 minutes or so into this episode. I am going to end this episode here, and I will essentially resume what will become episode 33, I believe, and that will close out the fall harvest and everything, at least for getting the stuff off this field. It doesn't mean it's going to close out the fall season. That we may come back together for another episode, or we may just wait until winter time to sell crops. We don't have a high demand for anything that we currently have in our storage. Usually the high demands come around noon, so we've already passed that. So maybe we'll get a high demand or a great demand on the first day of winter. So I don't think we'll sell anything on this game day. But I think we will just come back together. Oh, look at that. I mean, literally, how could you not time that? I guess it is at the top of the hour. Great demand for canola. This offer lasts for 12 hours. Okay, so we have canola. So I think what we will do is take a look at what we have here as far as amounts. We've got 62,000 liters of canola. So yes, we definitely need to take advantage of that great demand. 2,053 a liter. So I'm going to end this episode here. I'm going to do a few things off camera, so the time will change just slightly before we come back again, and then we'll come back again and we'll finish up this field and probably sell some canola, and may do some things simultaneous to each other, and kind of wrap this season up. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please remember to come back again for another episode. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so. I would appreciate it. It helps tremendously, helps motivate us and all that good stuff. And if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to leave those as well. And don't forget, you can interact with me over at the Three Dudes Gaming Network or at PCSG. Both of those are very wonderful communities, and we welcome you with open arms. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.